Hi, fifth graders. We are back with another read aloud from Save Me a Seat. So we left off on quite a cliffhanger in our last read aloud, and we were discovering that Ravi brought something pretty shocking that everybody was kind of screaming and grossed out by. And the last sentence was sitting on the desk in a glass jar filled with cruddy looking water, and swimming around in that cruddy looking water are three long, slimy, black dot dot dot. Chapter 37, Ravi. Leeches, I say as everyone leans closer to see what I have in my jar. Yesterday, Haripa and I took a walk together. Where are we going? I asked him. You'll see, he said. Ever since we moved to New Jersey, Haripa has been very quiet. He eats his meals without a word, then goes and sits on the sofa to chew his batil nuts and read his newspapers. But yesterday, as we walked together, he had a lot to say. What's this I hear about you wanting to quit school? He asked. Nobody likes me, I told him. They think I smell bad. It doesn't matter what they think. Quitting is not an option. I know, I said. Appa told me. That's because I told your father that very same thing when he was a boy. And someday, when you have children of your own, you'll tell them too. Quitting is not an option. You don't understand, I said. Nobody does. For a while, we walked in silence. Did you know that in India, tea has to be plucked by hand, Ravi? My grandfather said finally. 3 leaves and a bud, right from the very top of the tea bush. The tea pluckers pick the tender root or tender shoots and drop them into baskets that hang from their heads. When I was a young man, my first job was to work at the tea plantation. I had to stand in the rain and guard the workers, protecting them from wild animals that might be lurking nearby. What kind of wild animals? I asked. My grandfather didn't answer. Instead, he took me by the hand and led me through the tall grass to the edge of the pond Amma and Haripa were always warning me not to go near. What are we doing here? I asked. Again, my grandfather did not answer. He bent his knees and crouched down, careful not to let his vishti touch the muddy ground. I crouched down beside him and watched as he dipped the tea strainer into the water and began dragging it very slowly through the weeds at the edge of the pond. 2 times he pulled the strainer out, and we peered in only to see dirt and dead leaves. But on the third try, his efforts were met with success. 3 long, black, worm-like creatures wriggled in the strainer. We used to call them Draculas in disguise, Haripa told me. The tea plantations were infested with them during the monsoon season. They were much larger than these skinny fellows, but these will have to do. Do for what? I asked. Karima told me about your assignment. The assignment is to find something that represents who I am, I told my grandfather. Do you think I'm a leech? Haripa laughed and pulled a small glass jar from his pocket. Fill this to the top with water, he said, handing it to me. When I had finished filling the jar, he dropped the leeches in, closed the cap, and tightened it. These leeches are a reminder of who we are and where we've come from, Ravi, and of all the hardships we've endured to get here. I thought about our house in Bangalore and my friends back at Vijayamandir, especially Pramrod. I thought about the way things used to be, the way I used to be. I don't know who I am anymore, Haripa, I told my grandfather. You are Ravi, my grandfather said, putting his arm around me and pulling me up close. And our family never gives up. We work hard against all odds and believe in ourselves. Who would have thought that I, a small tea plantation owner, would be able to send his son to a fine university and to help bring his whole family to live in America, too? But that is what happened. I miss Bangalore, I said softly. Me too, but you will have many more opportunities here. It doesn't feel like home, I told him. Give it time, Haripa said, reaching for my hand. Come on, Ravi. Amma and Parima are waiting. If we stay out any longer, they'll think we've been carried off by that terrible wind Parima is always complaining about. Everyone in room 506 is still gathered around my desk, trying to get a look at the leeches. The time is right, so I open my pencil box and take out the blue candy, the one that Miss Frost gave me in the resource room 2 days ago. I put it in my desk. I had put it in my desk and forgot all about it until this morning. Now, this little blue candy is about to play the starring role in my big plan. I look around to make sure no one is watching. Then, I place the candy in the glass dish on Bigfoot's desk. Chapter 38. Joe. I can't believe my eyes. I actually blink a couple of times to make sure I'm not seeing things. Is there really a blue peanut M&M sitting in the glass dish on my desk? The answer is yes, but what's weird is it's not the same one I brought from home. This one is, or that one was single. This one is a double. Those are rare, especially blue ones, which is how I know exactly who put it there. And that's where we're going to end for today. So we now know that Joe had brought a blue M&M or peanut M&M. Dylan had stolen it. Ravi still had his from the resource room and put it in the glass dish on Joe's desk when no one was looking, and everyone was looking at the leeches, which we found out is what Ravi brought. Stay tuned for our next read aloud of Save Me a